Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back again this week and watching On the Town with Tanya. I'm your host. So this week, we decided to talk about healthcare. It has become less affordable for many. And we just wanted a conversation on the intersection of traditional and virtual healthcare. So today's guest is a family nurse practitioner specializing in family medicine, urgent care, and telehealth services. She has been a nurse since 2003, I believe, and holds a Master of Science as a family nurse practitioner. She's a healthcare provider, and she says her philosophy is very simple. She believes in meeting every patient where they are. Please welcome founder and family nurse practitioner at Cohen Care, Miss Belinda Cohen. Hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How are you? How are you?
I'm doing well.
You doing well? I was off my A game here today. We did not get our audience applause, and I apologize for that. But thank you so much for joining us. And we really, healthcare is a big thing right now, like for everyone. And so when I saw that you were a nurse practitioner and then you opened your own clinic, I was like, whoa, this is amazing, big stuff. How can you walk me through, like, how did you get into healthcare first? Just the first part.
Wow. Gosh. It was a very long time ago. I wanted to be a physical therapist initially, and that just didn't work out. I decided to go and become a nurse. I moved from New York to North Carolina, and I started as a CNA, then LPN, then RN, then finally nurse practitioner. Just moving up the ranks. So just always been a caring, loving person to help others. So that's where
Wow,
it
wow,
comes from.
wow. Did anything specific inspire you? Like someone was sick and, or, just, sometimes like I wanted to be a nurse because my mom was sick, but I found out that's not a good reason to be a nurse. But like, did something, inspire you, like specific?
Well, I would research different careers and
Oh,
honestly to see what type of lifestyle I was gonna have being certain things.
really?
Because originally it was a teacher, and I was like, oh no, can't be a teacher. Then I was like a lawyer, an attorney, and I was like, oh, I got to represent some people that I know that are that are guilty. So I ended up as a nurse because just I'm a caring spirit, right? So
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
like, that's something that I can do. There's range in what you do. So I was like, yeah, I think
Right.
nursing is it, and I just landed on nursing.
That's fabulous. I mean, and nurses do make coins. Let's not get it misunderstood. They do make coins. I decided to end that career real quick after I got my CNA health assistant certificate
Hmm.
because they told me that next phase starts giving, doing the blood, and I was like, nah, I'm good. So I ended that real quick. I did those little 2 years and was like, I'm good. I don't need any more of that. Uh,
Hmm.
no one told me the higher you go, yeah, you make more money, but you're gonna have to do a lot of things, bedpans, and Well, I was doing the bedpans as a health, so that's what we do. But
Hmm.
as you get higher, you have more responsibility. So I find it interesting. But can you talk us on what led you to? So you've been doing this, I want to say about 20 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. Right at 21 in the nursing field, not as a nurse practitioner, but in the nursing field, yes.
Wow,
Hmm.
amazing, amazing. What inspired you to open a clinic? Now that's
Mm.
phenomenal.
I went to nurse practitioner school, of course,
Mhm,
and when I got out, my first job, they recruited me. I'm not going to tell
mhm,
you where, but a wonderful office. Office, if you're listening right now, I love you guys. The best office ever. Best people to
mhm,
work for. So it was. They recruited me. Three out of my four rotations. Three of them
mhm.
recruited me, and I chose this one.
Okay.
But working as a nurse practitioner was so different than my clinicals or school because
Mhm,
this is the first career that I had where I felt like I was working in a factory.
mhm,
Every second of my life, every second of my workday was accounted for. Every minute. Like
mhm,
for these 15 minutes, you're going to see this patient. For these 15 minutes, you're going to do this. And I never felt like that before. So I worked and it was like I didn't have work life balance because as you see patients, so say for instance, for example, you have an appointment at 8:40 a.m.
Mhm.
I have 15 to 20 minutes to see you. That 15 to 20 minutes is not my 15 to 20 minutes. That starts the moment your appointment starts. So it starts at 8:40. If you're 5 minutes late, 5 minutes of your appointment is already gone, right? When you get there to check in, if you have to wait in line, that's part of your appointment. Once you finally get to see me, after you get checked in, your blood pressure, all that good stuff, I
Mhm.
might have 4 minutes with you. So
Wow.
that's why you see the provider come in and get out of there, because their day never stops. There's another patient right behind you. And
Right.
then at the end of the day, there's a lot of charting to do, right?
Mm.
I have to chart on you. And then 2 days ago, I ordered all these labs. All of those patients, I have to respond to those labs that day too. On top of all the calls I get, all of the FMLA papers, all of the messages I get. So when you start to look at your whole day, you're taking work home.
Mhm.
So I said, this was a funny story. I was talking to the office manager, and she
Mhm.
was in my office. I had a beautiful office. I mean, floor to window ceilings. I mean, floor to window. I mean, floor to ceiling windows. It was wonderful. But I
Mhm.
was talking to her, and I said, listen, the work life balance is not good for me. Like, I'm taking work home. I know I only negotiated a 4-day work week, but I'm working, at home all the time.
Right.
So she looked at me and she said, Belinda, I'm going to be honest with you. Wherever you go, this is what it's going to be.
Mhm.
And I looked at her and I said, that's what they told the slaves. And that's when I knew I had to leave. And that's when I knew I had to open up Cohen Care, because
Wow.
I wanted to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. I needed to give them more time than just 5 minutes. And at that time, they were
Mhm.
giving me 30 minutes. So by the
Right.
time you saw me, I had a good solid 15 minutes with you. So I was
Right.
okay with that. But I knew that wasn't going to be, for the long run. So I
Right.
knew I had to come up with a strategy. I still love what I do, but I
Mm.
needed to do it my own way. So
Mm.
I said goodbye, and
Wow.
I opened Cohen Care.
Wow. So how did you so as a nurse practitioner graduate, you already know the ins and outs of what it takes to open a clinic, or you had to research that first? Because I don't know too many. I mean, I can be wrong. Please correct me. Maybe in the South there's tons of them, but I don't know too many Black-owned healthcare service providers. I don't know it too many, and maybe that's just because I'm in New York. Maybe that's why. Maybe there's tons in Georgia. I don't know. Can you correct me on that if I'm wrong?
So your question, how did I know how to do it, right? So there were two rotations. When I say rotations, when I'm in school, I have to go out to, as a nurse practitioner, I have to go out to clinics to
Right.
train. And unfortunately for me, I didn't work for Novant or Atrium at the time. So in order for me to get rotations for me to train and get through school, I had to go and pay. So I would pay thousands, $3,000. I had to go to Alexandria, Virginia, and then I had to pay for a hotel and I had to do all this stuff. But while I was going to these places where I had to pay other doctors and nurse practitioners to precept me,
Mhm.
um, I learned how to run offices, because the
Mhm.
offices I would go to, they were mom and pop offices,
Right.
right? They weren't big conglomerate offices.
Okay.
So I went and I would do things like, I remember being in one rotation. I was everything. I was the janitor. I was the nurse practitioner. I was the supply orderer. I did everything. But while I'm doing this, I'm learning. I'm
Mhm.
watching. I'm
Mhm.
picking up. I'm being quiet because I don't need to talk. I just need to be quiet and listen. So
Mhm.
if you are exposed to certain things and you just be quiet and listen, you'll pick up a lot. Then, of course, I had to do my research
Right.
and I had to use my resources, like people that I knew. I would
Mhm.
call them. I would ask them questions. I would talk to the doctors. I would be like, if I'm out golfing and I met someone, I'm going to talk to them because I need to get some information so that I can make my life the way I want it to be as far as
Mhm.
being a nurse practitioner. So that's how I learned, just
Wow.
figuring it out. And we have Google. Come on.
Yeah, I know,
Everything's
but
there.
we're still not many. I mean, I know a lot of nurses actually, but not many are like taking the leap of saying, you know what, I'm gonna. They got the masters, but I don't know if they got nurse practitioner or higher. So I mean, you need that or at least to do that. And they don't have no aspiration to open a clinic or anything like that. So that's why I was asking, because it's very it's very inspiring because I know a lot of I mentored a foster youth, and I have a couple of girls that are nurses. They one wanted to be a doctor, but she says her grades weren't whatever to par. And I said, just be a nurse practitioner. It's just as good. I said, you're doing the work. She did the work during the pandemic. Like keep going. Don't let someone tell you can't make it because of a grade. Are you kidding me? You just keep going until you get it right. I'd do it 500 times if I had to. If that's her dream, is to be a nurse practitioner or a doctor. That's her dream. And I said, why would you stop now? And it's like, well, I don't want to catch any more debt and whatever. I said, you have to follow your dream. There's a reason why, in my opinion, God or the universe gave you a dream, because you're going to do something so spectacular that I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think, I don't know, it's very important that we follow our hearts. And I think I love the way you had a full-fledged plan and you were not stopping no matter what happened. It's going down. So your patients are double blessed because they have someone doing what they love to do. And they love also caring for their patients, which is why you want to have, I don't want to tell my patient you got 2 minutes, that's commendable, I think, because I can't stand walking in and be like, although I've been lucky, my doctor's been pretty good. But overall, I know you got 10, 15 minutes if you're lucky at that appointment. And I do this. Well, doc, in 1955, my left hip, I'm one of them. I'm the patient. You'd be like, oh, Lord, we're about to lose all our funding.
I do want to say something, because I don't want providers, doctors, nurse practitioners, PAs to be, I guess, painted in a bad light, right?
Oh, no.
So I do want to say, when we go to school,
right,
we go to school with the mindset of helping people, right? That's our whole goal. When we get out, we still want to help people. But when we start that position, while we're seeing you, there are also meetings that we have to attend. And these meetings are about the numbers. And if you're not hitting your numbers, because if they're paying me, I'm going to make up something. If they're paying me $10 a year,
right,
I need to make at least $30 to $40. I need to make 3 to 4 times my salary for this company, so that they can pay the ancillary staff, they can pay me, and as well, they can make a profit. So when I'm in this meeting and they're talking about these numbers, am I pulling my weight? Now I have to think about, I need to feed my family. So subconsciously, you start to sometimes look at a visit as a number, as opposed to see the person as a person, not because we want to do that, but because they're still trying to run a business. No matter what, we want to serve patients. We don't even care about the money. We want to serve patients, but the business is still trying to make a profit.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So providers definitely want to serve you, but it's the conglomerate. So it's the people who want to keep the doors open and make a profit that pushes us to the point where we have to get in and out. Yeah. So
I get that. I mean, at our group, we've had so many doctors just in a year alone, actually in months alone, that left so quick. And I was just asking them, what's going on? And of course, they can't really tell me, but it just appears to be that, this is just not a McDonald's business, but in and out.
It's a factory. It's a factory.
And they said, I can't do it. I can't do it. So a lot of good doctors that I've known since I was 7 years old. And I'm like, why are you leaving? I mean, they retired and came back, or did they partial, whatever they call it. I know many doctors there, and they've all left. Even the new ones, they're there no more than 3 to 6 months. And I said, what is going on? There apparently is a new system of get them in, get them out. And some people just can't, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I appreciate you for that. And I appreciate those who put in and try to stay in as long as they can for the patients, because they love doing what they do. It's not an easy job, especially when you get a patient like me who's like my own fact checker. I'm like,
Dr. Google.
Maybe like Dr. C, we don't even have a medical degree. I was like, he don't. Guess what? You were into herbs before you got into medical. So they get I'm the worst. I could be a doctor's worst nightmare, or I can be their funniest patient of the day. Depending on how you see that, because what's some ways that we can help you as a nurse practitioner when we come on visits? What's the way that we can help speed things along or make things easier?
That's a good question. So when you make your appointment and you give the reason why you need the appointment, sometimes that appointment may be 2 weeks out or a week out. That reason may have changed.
Right.
I would say as soon as you get there, update them on the new reason why you're there. The other thing is, If you come to the doctor, you made an appointment for a call for a cold or something like that.
Mhm.
If you come into the office and you now have 5 things wrong, it's pick your best 2 or 3. And the reason why I say this
Mhm.
is because after a certain amount
Mhm.
of items that I
Mhm.
have to address,
Mhm.
it's not like the reimbursement for that visit increases, but my workload increases. I would love to see you for all 5 things, but the
Right.
powers that be are saying, hold on. You have to get through this appointment. You can't address, or they have to make another appointment or make a
Oh,
televisit. It's
oh,
not that we don't want to see you for all of those things. It's that we have people breathing down our backs saying,
right.
listen, you need to get out and get in, or get in and get out.
Okay.
So we want so I would say just come with your best 2
Okay.
and then make another appointment.
Okay. Okay. Has there ever been, well, has there been, I would say, has there ever been a time where you absolutely could not help someone and you had to send them to the hospital?
Oh, definitely. I had someone that he came in and I didn't know him. It was my first time meeting him. And
Mhm.
we talked and everything was good. And it was time for him to leave. And I
Mhm.
usually like to walk the patients that I'm dealing with out.
Okay.
I had that extra time.
Right.
So, but this particular patient, I didn't walk out for some reason. But by the time he walked out, I was able to come out of the room, or maybe I saw him down the hall or something. And
Mhm.
it looked like he was dragging his foot.
Mm.
So I told the nurse to bring him back in because I'm like, why is he dragging his foot? I don't know him. Maybe this is his norm, but let me just make sure. Come to find out, he was having a stroke. So I
Mm,
sent
yeah.
him over to the hospital.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are times where you see things in your assessment,
Mhm.
and you realize that it's emergent,
Right.
or it could be emergent, and I'm not taking any chances. So
No.
if you have certain signs or symptoms that could be emergent, I'm telling you, go over to the hospital just to get checked out. Better
Right.
safe than sorry.
Right. Wow.
But that's if you have time to do that assessment.
Right. Exactly.
If you only have 5 minutes, you're not doing that
Uh,
assessment.
I
I don't
can't
care
imagine.
what they say.
I cannot imagine because I walk into my doctor's, even just, you can't get an appointment with my doctors anymore. It's except for 6 months out.
Yeah.
6 months out. So that
So
means
many
urgent
providers
care.
are leaving. So many providers are leaving, and
That's it. That's it. It's happening a lot in Westchester, I see. It's really sad because one thing I remember about growing up was I remember my doctor, one of my doctors was Catanicchio. Everybody knows him. He was around for forever. My kids, me, my siblings. I mean, just everybody. He lived to be like 90 something years old. Brilliant man. I
wow.
loved him. But he was the last of the Mohegans, I say, because he took time. Hello, how are you doing in school? What's going on? And I don't know, that was before the protocol started.
Mhm.
But he till the day he passed, I saw him in the store, and that man you just don't find him like that anymore. You don't find him to take care, like you said, you like to walk patients out. That's the kind of person he was, and you don't find that anymore. Healthcare has become this just a number. And I understand, people's got to make their money. I totally get that because office space is not cheap. I get that. But at some point, it's like, when do we bring the human back into healthcare?
Right.
Especially for our seniors who, sometimes you're the only person that they're really dealing with all, in a what's a scan method. How do I say it? Where you can see like, wait a minute, they haven't been out in days, they haven't did this in days, they haven't
Mhm.
eaten. You're the person that they see. So if the doctor's like, or a foster child, you might be the one that notices there's a bruise on their arm, or they're not, there's something wrong with the ear or something. You may
Mhm.
notice
Mhm.
something nobody else will notice. So if our doctors are not paying attention and our teachers, wow, we got problems, you know.
Mhm.
And I appreciate the ones that do take the extra time. Can you walk us through the difference between in-office visit and a virtual appointment?
Sure, sure, sure. I do want to address something you said. When do we bring the human back? We bring the
Mm.
human back with private practices like mine.
Mhm.
That's how you bring it back, because we
Mm.
do, we give care the way it should be given. But
Right.
difference between an in-person visit and a telehealth visit. So with me, in-person visit, you come into the office.
Right.
Um, the CMA or the nurse gets your blood pressure, all the good stuff, right? Gets your blood
Mhm.
pressure, bring you in. I see you in person. I laugh with you and we talk about things and then you go home. But a telehealth visit,
Okay.
It lacks certain things like blood pressure, getting vital signs, blood pressure, temperature, all that good stuff. But it's
Okay.
for quick things. Like
Right.
you have a cough, you
Right.
you feel like you may have a UTI. I can still send you to the lab to
Right.
have your urine dropped off, or say, for instance, you feel like, hey, I want to know if I'm pre-diabetic. I can send you
Yeah.
to the lab
Right.
anywhere in North Carolina and have your hemoglobin A1C checked. So
Okay.
it's for simple things that I don't have to put my hands on you for.
Okay.
So that's why we'd, or follow-up visits.
Hmm.
Say, for instance, you came in and you got some labs done and we
Hmm.
want to go over them. A lot of times your doctor will just send you a message and say everything's normal. But if
Right.
you want to actually understand your labs, it's okay to make an appointment or a telehealth visit and go over them
Right.
one-on-one with the provider. That's important, just so you can know what not to do to get into the situation of being, diabetic or having hypertension or things like that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, so telehealth is good for yeah, a few things. That's one I didn't think about for reading my lab reports, because what I've been doing is just Google them. I Google them and see, and I said, well, the good thing is it does tell you if something's high or low. So
Mhm.
that as long as those are fine, you're good. But if something is off, now you got to go Google. What does that mean? I don't know what
Right.
hemoglobin or whatever words. I don't know. There's so many complicated words on there. And then you're like, wait, do I have to pay another $150 to see the doctor just to get this right? That's the problem I have. Is like, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to have an appointment for this, because I just felt like it should come with it,
And
but
you know what should happen is the doctor. Well, what I did, I don't know what everyone else does. I'm not going to throw a blanket.
okay.
What I would do is once you had labs done, when
Hmm.
they come back, I would
Hmm.
let them all come back in my inbox, and
Okay.
then I would write you a nice note. I
Right.
would go over all of them in a note. And
Oh,
it would be like an email form through our system so that you are quite aware of what's going on. If you're pre-diabetic, I'm going to say that. I'm going to give you ways of, trying to prevent getting worse.
right.
So I would do all of that, but it's nice to have that in-person visit follow-up, or sorry, telehealth visit follow-up, so that
Okay.
we can have that discussion. But yeah, you should be getting that anyway.
Okay. So yeah. So I always wonder about that. What are the benefits and the challenges of providing care both in person and virtually? So
Well, in person, I can touch you.
right.
I can feel certain areas.
Right.
Virtually, I can't. So if
Right.
someone makes a virtual appointment is something that I cannot effectively treat them for
Okay.
over video. I'll tell them, hey, you just have to come in. That's
Right.
all.
Okay.
Um,
How do you make sure, like, how do you ensure the quality of care remains consistent between the office and the virtual?
Well, I mean, if I'm their provider,
Right.
I'm
Mhm.
used to seeing them. I'm used to talking to them. I'll notice some things. Like your mom when you haven't visited her in 2 weeks, you
Yes.
notice, oh, you look a little slimmer. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so
For
so
sure.
so continuity of care is really with the provider, staying with
Okay.
your same provider. And if you have an office where the providers always change, or you can't get in with this provider or that provider, sometimes that's not a good thing.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know, and it's happening a lot more around at least in Westchester. I don't know where everybody else, but it's happening a lot.
Mhm.
It's like actually it's so annoying because even when you're told you have lumps in your breast or you have potential cancer and you're about
Mhm.
to go tomorrow, they'll be
Yeah.
like, we can see you in like 5 days. It's like,
Right.
wait, if it's so detrimental, then why do you need to wait 5 days? I'm just saying that I've heard people say things that I'm like, wait, they waited how long? I would be tortured. One time, 30 days for a lump. Yeah, I was like 30 days. Wow. But I mean, who knows? Thank God it turned out to be nothing. Thank you, Jesus.
Mhm,
What
mhm.
type of conditions or concerns are better suited for virtual visits, and which ones require in office?
So anything that, like lumps,
Right.
um, things that require like pap smears where I have to, do an internal and invasive
Mhm.
procedure.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Things online, things that we can do via video,
Okay.
cough, simple things.
Right.
If,
So
like
you
I
can
said, if you
see.
think you have a UTI, it's
Right.
just simple things. Skin rashes, I can
Right.
do that via video.
Right.
Um, Ingrown toenails, you might need to come in. Um,
Right.
plantar warts, you might need to come in.
Yeah.
Anything that I have to physically touch you for,
Okay.
you'll have to come in. But for a lot of things, medication refills, things like that,
Okay.
it could be done via video, as
Okay.
long as I don't need like a blood pressure
Okay.
on you. If
Okay.
you have the capability of taking your own temperature at home, or you have a blood pressure machine at home, that's great. But I don't know how accurate it is. So sometimes when patients come in, I say, bring your blood pressure machine in so I can make sure it's accurate. I'll take the manual and I'll use theirs.
Oh,
So, so
smart.
yeah, there are a lot of ways that we can work around people actually coming into the office.
Hmm.
But for the most part, um, office visits are definitely welcomed.
That's smart. That's smart. What kind of technology or tools do you rely on to provide the best for virtual care experience for patients?
So with my charting platform,
Hmm.
they have their own form of Zoom, and
Okay.
it's private, it's HIPAA compliant,
Okay.
and it's just a link that goes to the patient's phone or goes to their computer, wherever you want. They click
Mhm.
the link, and
Wow.
we're talking just like that.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing
Mhm,
technology today, I tell you.
mhm.
How has the increase for demand for virtual healthcare changed your approach to patient care?
Oh, it's huge because some people, depending on the person, some people just can't make it
Hmm.
to the doctor. You have your elderly that depend on their children to
Hmm.
bring them in, and sometimes the children have to work.
Yes.
So I mean, if I can get a visit, an in-person visit once every 3 to 6 months, I'm
Hmm.
happy. Anything else in between, I'm okay with virtual. And if you're not a patient of mine,
Hmm.
virtual all day long. Health coaching, if you're not a patient of mine, you can come for health coaching virtual. You can do a virtual urgent care with me, quick in and out, and I don't have to be your primary care provider for
Right.
that. You can come to
Oh,
me, and any information can go straight over to your doctor.
okay. And on your website will tell us what insurances you take, correct?
Right, right.
Oh, okay, that's good. And what advice do you have for patients who might be hesitant or not really familiar with virtual healthcare?
I would say you can't break anything. And I'm
Mm,
talking to my 60, 70, 80-year olds, 90-year olds. You cannot break anything. You
mm,
try it. If it doesn't work, hit another button. Keep hitting
mm,
the button until it works.
mm.
Trying will not hurt anything. So just keep trying, or have one of your younger grandchildren, someone help you out with it.
Right,
Remember, everything is just steps.
right,
It's nothing but steps. When I went to school, it's nothing but steps. Anybody can learn a step. We can
mm,
teach a monkey a step.
right, right.
Everything is a step. Once you
Right.
get the steps down, you're good. So try again. Never give up.
Wow. Okay. How do you, well, I think you answered that before. You maintaining personal connections with patients during your virtual visit. You said that usually you know them, so it's not just random.
I do, but I think that the way I'm speaking to you now is the way I speak to patients. There's no formal, Miss So and So. I call you by your last name or however you want me to address you, but it's heart to heart. So when I have visits with patients, they say, "Gosh, that was a nice visit. I
Right.
never had a visit like that because I'm talking to you like you're my mother, you're my sister, you're my brother.
Right.
You're a person to me.
Right.
So I think the connection is always there with me and the client. It's one quick story. So I had this gentleman come in, and his wife came in with him, and he was a drinker, he was a smoker, he was morbidly obese, all of these things, and he didn't like going to the doctor. So with all of the folks that I see, like you said, I meet them where they are, right where they are.
Mhm.
My job is to present you with the knowledge that I have, that I learned, and then what I've seen in practice,
Right.
right?
Right.
I give you two options, the red door or the blue door. I'm not pro pills. I'm against pills.
Mhm.
Only I give you medication if we can't do anything else to fix your issue, right? And
Okay.
then even if you get on the medication, I'm still going to try natural ways or regular ways of trying to get you off. Because I
Right.
think you take one pill and then it causes something else for you to take another pill and then
Right.
another pill. Now you have 20 pills. So this
Right.
gentleman came in, and I told him, I said, you could get healthy, and I
Mhm.
still can't guarantee that you're going to live another 20 years because you can go out there and get hit by a truck. But
Right.
you can start eating healthy, cut back on drinking, start exercising, and maybe you'll have a decent quality of life.
Mhm.
Or You can keep drinking, you can keep drugging, you can keep doing what you want to do.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with that because it's your life. And I'm only here to make sure I do the best that I can for you and meet you where you're at. I'll buy you
Mm.
a pack of cigarettes and I will support you. But my job is, if you're going to keep doing this, then I need to figure out which medication, because you're going to be on medication, which medication you shouldn't take while
Mm.
drinking or while
Mm.
taking drugs. So I
Right.
meet you where you're at. And when I gave him those two options, he told his wife, no one's never talked to me like that. They never gave me the option and said, I'm not going to beat you over the head and say, you need to stop drinking. You
Right.
need to stop drugging. I'm going
Right.
to meet you where you're at
Right.
and
That's
support you where you're at. And do you know, he
mm.
ended up stopped drinking. He stopped smoking. He went ahead and lost weight because it was now he was in control of himself.
Right.
And that's what I bring to people.
Mm.
I am
Mm.
not your boss. I'm not your God.
Right.
I offer you what I have. If
Right.
you take it, that's okay. If you don't, I still love you.
Right. Right.
So
And
that connection is different than what you'll get from most providers when you go into the room.
wow. And so if someone's in New York, can they see you virtual?
Oh, I wish. So this is
Okay. That's what I
so
wanted to clarify.
so anyone in North Carolina, because I'm licensed in North Carolina. Now, if I
Oh,
decide
right.
to get licensed in New York or what have you, then I can see anyone anywhere. Now, if you are in North Carolina, or
Mm.
you tell me you are in North Carolina virtually,
Right.
I can see you. The only
Oh,
thing I cannot do, we can do
right.
health coaching anywhere, but I
Right.
can't, if I order medications, it must be a North Carolina pharmacy that I
Got it.
send it to. So if you
Right.
need some medications, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. But
Okay.
health coaching, if you need to sit down with a provider and just you have questions that you can't get answered by your provider because they only have 5 minutes,
Mhm.
schedule a visit with me. We'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll go over your medication. I'll give you some pointers and what you can do to try to get off this stuff. I'll educate you and I'll give you what I have. So I can definitely do that anywhere,
Right.
anyone, anywhere, all over the world. If you need some advice, schedule an appointment with me. I got you,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's a whole new. I love my old doctor too because he was one of those. He's not med happy at all,
Mm-mm.
which is probably why he left because they were
Listen,
like,
it's killing us.
yeah,
I know the insurance companies are going to be upset with me. It's
yeah.
killing us. The
I
Wegovy, all of this stuff, killing us. Please,
yes, yes,
please. And I love all people, but
yes.
I'm talking about my people. Stop.
Well, yeah, because they do they marginalize us, especially if you live in a poor area or inner city area. It's over. It is. If you don't know what's going on with your healthcare, you're done. You are done.
Done.
And I feel like that for some people who live in like parts of like, well, not that we care about some parts of Alabama, but like really deep,
Mhm.
I'll say another section of poor areas, right?
Mhm.
They also get just like the okie dokie. But that's because if you're not informed on yourself, then my mom used to be my forever mom used to be big about that. Where do I go for the doctor? Go where all the rich people going.
But let me tell you this.
or
Mhm.
or if I find a doctor who has same values, let's say, then that's
Mhm.
an exception. Because I do have a couple that are amazing, that are break all the traditional, me saying no way.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
not saying I would not see someone else, but if you don't have my values, and I do test my doctors, yes, I'd be like, I saw a doctor smoke cigarettes once, and I was like, when I saw that, I dropped them. I dropped them. How am I gonna have you? No, I can't do that. No.
Let me say this. Let me say this, Tanya. So in every profession, y'all are
Mm.
not going to want to hear this, but in
Uh-oh.
every profession, I
Mhm.
work at Walmart, I
Mhm.
might drop a jar and break it. I
Right.
made a mistake.
Right.
I work in tech, I
Mhm.
may mess up someone's computer. I made a
Mhm.
mistake. My intention is not to do that.
Right.
Doctors, nurse practitioners, PAs, nurses, CNAs, they're all human.
Right.
Some of them smoke, some of them drink,
Right.
some of them are pedophiles.
Right.
Some of them do drugs.
Right.
We go through the same thing that y'all go through.
Right.
But that don't mean what we have in us, the information that we have in us is not good. If
Okay.
I see a bum on the street and he has a good word for me, I'm going to take it. Not
Okay.
because he's a bum, but because that word is there. So please
Thank
know
you for
that
that.
they are human.
Okay.
They're human. So don't think that people don't die behind the hands of some providers, but it's not their intention because we're human.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Remember
That's
that.
a very, very, very good point. And I needed that big old pop in the head right there, because that is judgmental of me. But the reason why was because we were talking about me getting fit. So that's why, because I'm like, you can't tell me to be fit and you're 400 pounds and telling me, because then I know you don't know how to apply those things. So how would you tell me? That's what I mean. I don't mean because he has a flaw of smoking cigarettes. I'm not saying that. It's just for you advising me on, especially breathing. What was it? I forgot what it was at the time, but it was like, so I was like, wait, what? Oh, no, we're not doing this. So we are all human. Absolutely correct. And so I would never have nobody, no accountant, nobody. If we was to go by that, we'd never have nothing, teacher, nothing, because nobody's perfect. You're absolutely correct. But when it comes to my health, I usually like to know, or at least think that the person advising me is fairly on point. How about that? Like if you're gonna eat at McDonald's every day, and I find out that you're a McDonald's eater every day and you smoking cigarettes and doing whatever every day, and you're advising me on my health, I have a problem with that. That's just me. But not to saying that you have to be perfect. I'm not saying that. But just if you advising me, I'm the type of person I need to like. The reason why I like Dr. Sebi is because even though he ain't perfect and he got like 22 kids, he got 22 kids, you get me? But he showed he was heavy set, overweight, blood pressure, all that stuff, and showed this is what happens when you do what I'm telling you to do. I can rock with that because now I got a clear cut example and I ain't got no excuses. But I would have every excuse in the book if you telling me, yeah, your breathing would get better if you stop smoking. And you're smoking. I'm like, oh, bro, they're not making it easier for me right now. This is not what I need. So I don't know. I'm gonna take to heart what you said, and you are absolutely 100% correct. I was an addiction counselor, and I was born a heroin baby, but I didn't become an addict, as they say. So some people say, well, I don't want you counseling me, but I'm the best counselor you will ever get in your entire life.
That's right.
Entire life. Because why? I was a child of an addict. Trust me. It's like being an addict, basically. You know what I'm saying? There is no, to me, I see no major difference. I see no major difference in the field of addiction. Some people do, but I see no difference. If that child, as soon as the mother or father wants to go get high, they're having the same endorphins releasing and saying, oh, anxiety, all the intrepidation, everything they go through, they're going through just in a different way. Right. So me, but so I understand what you're saying. Some people say, well, you can't be my counselor because you wasn't an addict. And I was like, girl, if that's the case, what about the ones that you had and you're still back here? Like, how'd that work out for you?
So we're going to agree that you're not going to look at the messenger. You're just going to take heed to that message. All right.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ms. Cohen, we appreciate you because I do that. And I'm going to try to stop. Okay. Work for myself. But thank you. I appreciate that. What was I going to ask you about? So did you get that saying from the addiction field, meet people where they're at? Because that's something we tell our clients. I was an addiction specialist over 17 years. I don't even know how long at this point. And that's one of the major statements is we meet people where they're at.
Yeah, yes, because I want to go back to what you said when you said that the provider will be flippant with some people who are non-compliant with care, because it start to become, if you don't meet people where they're at as a provider, you start to become almost like the God. You're not listening to me. Me as a product, you're not listening to me. If you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to waste my time and try to help you. If we have to get away from that mindset, we have to get away from the mindset and say, maybe it's not their time to listen or get healthy.
Right.
But if we stay the course with them, you know what I mean? When you're on drugs or whatever, sometimes you're not ready to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
But stay the course with them, because when they're ready, oh baby, they're gonna stop, and it's gonna be a beautiful thing. Yes. But it has to be their decision. So that's why I say, if you meet them where they're at, you'll never have a problem with feeling like I'm a failure as a provider because I couldn't get you to do what I told you to do.
That's great. That's a great piece because a lot of people don't get that. And I probably wouldn't either, to be honest with you, if I hadn't been in the addiction field. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Mhm.
I probably wouldn't have got it or had that same compassion. But I do now because it's easy to easier said than done. A lot of things.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
addiction is definitely one of them. You could say all
Mhm.
day, yeah, I'm going to quit even cigarettes. I'm going to quit cigarettes tomorrow.
Mhm.
Your body's gonna be like, excuse
That's
me, don't
right.
think that's gonna happen right now, bro.
That's
And it's
right.
gonna take you at least 2 weeks to get that nicotine out of your body. Just the
Mhm.
nicotine. I'm not even going deep into drugs. So that I understand, and sometimes that little compassion actually can reverse
Mhm.
people around. So
Mhm.
that's an amazing story that you shared with us about the gentleman. What else? Who's this? Norma. Thank you, Norma. Yes, meet people where they're at. That's exact. What else did you want to share with us today?
Oh, wow. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I know you had this little
Let me
thing there.
make sure. We went over quite a bit. We talked about that.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see.
I knew I had to get it in because I knew you had something to get in. Got
All
15
right.
minutes left.
So I did want to talk because if there are any new nurse practitioners that listen to this, I posted this in the new nurse practitioner Facebook site,
Okay, I think I
and
got it.
and and a lot of them are very anxious about coming out.
Okay.
So if I had to speak to the new nurse practitioners coming out,
Mhm,
day one, what it was like for me.
mhm.
So I didn't get a bunch of training. I didn't get any training because they expect you to have training coming out of school. So I
Right.
went to Samford University in Alabama, the best nurse practitioner school there is. I did it online. They expected me. All their expectations was the same for the students who were in the brick and mortar.
Okay.
Amazing school. Now they don't do the master's program anymore. They
Okay.
do the doctorate. Samford University, if you're looking for a nurse practitioner school, hands down, when you come out, you're going to know what you're doing. That's number one.
Okay.
So, new nurse practitioners, day one, basically, they said you should have had training doing your clinical rotation.
Mm,
So, during your clinical rotations, new nurse practitioners, if you have to pay for it, pay for it. It's only one time. If they ask for 2,000, 3,000, save that money and pay, or get a loan and pay for it because you need those rotations. Because day one, when I started my position,
mhm,
they gave me my panel of patients and said, go see them. Just
wow.
like that. The other thing is getting a routine.
Mhm,
A routine is really important. So if you went to a good school, you know a lot. It's in you. Trust me. So your routine, when I used to go in the morning, I
mhm,
would go through the patient's charts, get there a little early, go through the patient's charts to familiarize myself. You may not want to do that. You may want to go through the patient's chart right before you see the patient because a lot of times you'll get a lot of cancellations.
mhm,
When I was starting my first job, I didn't get any cancellations, none. And I would look and I would be swiftly walking because one doctor told me never run. I would swiftly walk.
mhm.
My every patient that I had would show up, and I would look at the doctor and I'm like, why is she sitting over there? She'll say, well, 10 people didn't show up.
Mm,
But the reason why they would show up for me is because my face looked like theirs, and they hadn't seen,
uh-huh,
so they
uh,
would show up. So
uh,
again, your first when you get started, look through your patient's chart before you go in the room to see them.
yes.
Also, it's important to train your CMA, that's the person that's going to check your patient in,
Right.
to ask the patient why they're there, because they
Mhm.
come in first. Ask the patient, why are you here? What are your issues?
Okay.
And update the medication so that when your CMA comes out of your room to meet you, you
Mhm.
already know why they're there. So you can look up some things or do some research before
Mm,
you get in the room. Right. So when you go in the room, you know about this patient. So that's what I used to do. I would say don't take a lot of work home. Don't take any work home. And if you don't have enough time to see your patients as a new nurse practitioner,
mhm,
tell your boss. Remember, it's important for you to be there because if you're not there, the company doesn't make money. So
mhm.
let them know, hey, I need a little bit more time with these patients. I need to start out at 30 minutes with each patient, and then I'll work my way up.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, but please don't go asking questions that you should have looked up before you went to the doctor to ask questions. And when I say
Right.
asking questions, as a new nurse practitioner, there are other providers there that you have to go and ask questions. Look
Mm,
something up. Know what you're talking about before you go to the provider, because then they're going to look at you as lazy.
mm,
But overall, it's a wonderful career. It really is. And
Mm,
and it's doable. And if you
mm,
don't like primary care, because primary care I call the dumping ground.
right.
Everyone, all the specialists will send all their forms for you for their patients to you to fill out.
Mm,
Everything goes to you. So
mm,
if primary care proves too much to you,
mm,
don't be afraid to try something else like cardiology, like GYN. Those are specialties, and you only have to deal with that body system. When you're in
mm.
primary care, you deal with everything.
Yes.
Everything.
I
So
know.
if primary care is not for you, don't be afraid to choose another line of work. You don't have to stay there forever and say, oh, I got to be at this job for 2 years because I don't want it to look bad. If you're
Mm,
unhappy, job satisfaction is
mm,
really, really important. But family work life balance
mm.
is even more important. Now, let me
Yeah.
tell you, you might not want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I love each and every one of my patients, blue, green, pink, purple, doesn't matter. I love you. You walk in there, I connect with you, but I don't love you more than my family. So, my family has to come before. And I hope you feel the same way with any career that you're in. Never
Right.
put your career before your family. So,
Right.
I will give you my all while I'm there. And as
Right.
new nurse practitioners, give your all, but know when you go home, leave that at the
Mm.
office because you'll
Yeah.
be a better nurse practitioner if you do.
Yes. Yes. And that's less burnout as well. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Self
So
care, important.
it's very important, and that, especially in the healthcare field. I mean, you guys get, whew, I mean, the diagnosis you got to make all day long, the complaining people you got to deal with, the sad situations you got to deal with, telling people sad things. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's probably just every few patients that you get a, hi, how are you, doc? I'm just fine. All right, everything's good. Go, bye. Or it's very few that you get of those, right? So help, self, say it again. Self, uh, not self help. What did I just call the word? Lord help me.
Self care.
Self care is
Hmm.
crucial in that field. I believe in healthcare, the healthcare, firefighter, police, teaching, all those fields. They drain. It's a very draining field. Not saying it in a negative way, but it's a drain. You're giving. You're always giving, 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 giving. And if you're not getting from your family and your loved ones, well, guess what? At some point, something's got to break. So I agree.
And I can't give you a part of me if I'm broken, right? If I'm not feeling well,
Exactly.
if I'm going through, or if I'm just burnt out, I can't give you my best me. So yeah, that's important. And another thing, if you have a provider as a patient, if you're a patient and you have a provider and you're just not vibing with that person, change your provider. It
Yes.
doesn't, even if you change to another one in the office, they don't
Yes.
care.
Yes.
Change your provider. It's okay. You have to have that connection and that trust with the
Absolutely.
person that you are pouring your life out to or
Absolutely.
sharing your health with. It's really important. So
Yes,
no.
absolutely. Even if they don't, and if they don't value you, I went to an emergency room. A truck hit my car. A truck,
Ooh.
yes, at a red light. And the first thing the doctor says to me, young doctor too. She says, "We don't give meds out here." Now the thing is, my ex-sister-in-law, and my what do you call her? My neighbor was in there, and my neighbor and both of them were like livid. They were like, "What did you just say?" She didn't know that her CMA or whoever person came in and had previously asked me, "What's your pain level?" And I said, "At least a 15." And he tried to
Mhm.
give me volume, and I was like, "Absolutely not." And he was like, "Well, if you're in pain, why wouldn't you take it?" And I was like, "Because then I don't know what the real pain is. Duh. How you gonna make an assessment with me on meds? That doesn't even it
Mhm.
makes sense. Like something's broken, bleeding in a coma, then it makes sense. But if I'm telling you I'm alive and fully functional and can talk to you, don't you want to know what the real pain is? Because once you give me the meds, I ain't gonna know. You're gonna say, "What's the pain?" I'm gonna say, "Zero. I'm good." And now you're gonna be thinking I'm all better and I'm all met up. It doesn't make sense. So the doctor didn't know that though. So
Mhm.
first thing, I guess she was getting, well, it made sense because the hospital that happened at found out two of their nurses were taking the drugs and using them
Right.
for patients who were having surgery and they were waking up in surgery. So made perfect
Mhm.
sense. But that's what I'm saying. When someone's disrespectful to you like that, also, I don't play them games. I don't play them games. I was like, girl, you're about to get about probably like 20 grand from this emergency room visit. Are you kidding me right now?
Well, let me tell you this. Sometimes in emergency room, you
Mhm.
get, and the reason why I know is 'cause I know someone that works in Brooklyn and Manhattan in emergency rooms, and sometimes you get drug seeking folks,
Yeah. Oh,
and
all the time. Yeah.
but your mind as a provider
Right.
becomes fixed on
Protective.
everyone is coming here for that.
Okay. Okay.
And
But
which is wrong. It's
right.
wrong
Mhm.
because if she met everyone where they were in their specific situation,
Mhm.
she wouldn't have come off as that way. But sometimes we get
Well,
conditioned to, like
yeah.
the uppers probably said, hey, we have a drug problem, so
Yeah.
watch out giving drug. So
Yeah. Well,
it's
it wasn't that for her. And I'll tell you
mhm,
how I know. Because when they
mhm,
were wheeling me in, I saw another patient. A little girl had got burned because the mother had started the truck. Now, this is what she says. Started the big SUV, whatever, and the little girl
mhm.
got burned behind the pipe. Now, what the little 2-year-old's doing behind there, I have no idea. But anyway, follow my drift. And so that I saw that same doctor treat them like, oh, da 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 da. And you know
Mhm.
how you have to sit and wait a lot. It's a lot of waiting, especially if
Yes.
you're there and they got to do this, wait for the test come back. So I hear a lot. I see a lot. It's open room. Hello, and you hear her being all nice to the mother. Now, as a drug counselor, I can tell you she's the one that you needed to be asking questions about, but they were like clues because she had blonde hair. Because she had blonde hair and she was driving a
Mhm.
Mercedes Benz. And even my neighbor who's blonde said, "This is." I know she wouldn't have said that to me. She would not have absolutely. So I
Yeah.
was, I have to
Yeah.
assess if it's me being paranoid or is this a real thing. And they were like, "It's a real thing." So
Mhm.
the point of
Mhm.
me telling
Mhm.
people that is that if you feel uncomfortable with someone or they
Mhm.
are what's
That's
the
right.
word? If they're underestimating or undervaluing you, what's the word?
It can be
Uh
undervaluing.
Undervaluing that. I can't even say the word. That's the shame on me. I forgot what the exact word I'm looking for. If they are uh assuming
Mhm.
just based on I don't know how you dress, how you look, your hair, whatever. You need to definitely find someone else because I told them that I don't
Right.
want her. I don't want. She cannot. She can't touch me. No. And they were like, "Why not?" I reported her, but the point of making is that there are people who have these I don't know stereotypes or whatever that, and there may really be legit stuff because there was stuff going on in the
Mhm.
hospital, so it
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
legit. But girl, I'm not the one. You can ask me something
That's
and then
right.
get the assessment like, oh, she talks a lot. Maybe she's on drugs. Okay, even that, I'll take that. But she didn't even make no. She just walks
Right.
in. As soon as she asked me my pain level, oh well, we don't give out drugs. Well, I didn't ask
Yeah.
you for the drugs.
It was wrong. It was
Yeah,
wrong. It was
yeah,
wrong. She was
girl.
wrong.
Yeah. So anyway,
Mhm.
the point is, like you said, switch your provider if you're not comfortable with them, if you don't have
Mhm.
a good
Mhm.
repertoire with them, if you're
Mhm.
pulling teeth from them.
Yes.
I ain't pulling teeth from no doctor. I'm not doing that. It's like
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
we can't. We
Mm-mm.
can't. At $150 an hour, no, 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 no.
Mhm. Mhm.
But people just take care of your health because I try to only see the doctor once a year, and that's to do my blood work and make sure everything's, legit. That's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Other than that, I try to do Dr. Sebi approach on eating, living. I avoid smoke. I do the whole modality of what can I do for me now? Am I
Mhm.
perfect? No, but I just try to. I avoid doctors at all costs if I can, just because I just think it's smarter to work and focus on my food and my exercise than to be like, oh, I got to go get this test and get that test. This is too much. It's too much.
Definitely.
Too,
Definitely.
too
I
much.
mean,
But
there are people who live a long long time, like 90 something, 100 with no medication.
my forever grandpa and grandma, yep. And she had arthritis, but she's like, no, baby, you don't take no medicine. Don't ever take no medicine. I was like, all
You
right, man, I ain't gonna take no medicine.
I did want to talk about something. So,
Yes, go ahead.
I see a lot of young girls coming
Mhm.
in there with their parents and they want birth control because of the menstrual cramps.
Bad idea.
And that's another thing I am against because in life, number
Right.
one,
Mhm.
you will have pain. Some things you just have to deal with.
Yes.
And I feel like birth control alters so many things while your body is developing.
Mhm.
I've never seen the amount of, because when I was younger, I don't remember a lot of young girls not being able to have children and all of these issues. Like, where is this stuff coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have studies to show,
Right.
but mothers, if you're out there, please do not give your babies birth control.
Mm-hmm.
All of these, please don't. Don't
Mm-hmm.
figure out other ways, natural ways. But this birth control stuff is just not good. I
No.
don't see good. And if it's just for pain, figure out other ways.
Well, I
Deep
don't
breathing, mind control,
really.
Tylenol, hot pads on your belly,
Actually,
something.
avoid sugar, the big one.
And these
Sugar,
red
sugar.
dyes, the dyes, all the things. This
Yes.
fast food is killing
Yeah.
us.
And the gel on the nails cause
Oh my
endocrine
gosh.
disruptors. Yep.
Yes,
All that stuff.
yes,
Women don't
yes.
like, even I didn't know this, I'll be honest with you, until I ran into a Dr. CB type of herbalist.
Mhm.
And his wife does, what do you call it? She studies chemicals and stuff. I forgot, chemical research, something like that. So she's the one that enlightened me. I mean, I knew, but like she gave me science facts, like papers, like, look at this. And I was like, oh my God, the bleach in the house is not good for me. Oh my God. Like I stopped putting bleach in my house. I stopped, and now I'm really retentive about my dish soap, everything. If I was absolutely broke and had no choice, you might see me slip and fall, but I'm hard body about all of it now.
Mhm, mhm.
Because when I look back, a lot of autoimmune deficiencies and issues that are coming up, all these scented candles, those nail gels, the hair dyes. What's another one? Something else women do a lot. Oh gosh, there's so many. Even our makeup. I mean, there's so many things that could be causing your your endocrine system to be interrupted. That
Mhm.
now I'm really like, I try to find white papers on this stuff because I'm like, I knew something was off, but I couldn't tell
Mhm.
what it was. I think it's that when even endometriosis and fibroid
Yes.
is
Mhm.
fed by sugar. Sugar makes
Mhm.
those things worse. And why?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't, well, I can't tell you in layman terms. Go read the white papers about it, and you'll
Mhm.
see. You'll see that that's if you just start with that first,
Mhm.
then you can go
Mhm.
to the next phase. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Before you start
Mhm.
popping the volumes and pills to get rid of the pain, because the pain's
Mhm.
coming because of something. It's every pain we have in our body. This is I love. I think it was Dr. Yaki said this. Every sickness, illness that we have in our body is a symptom.
It's our body talking to us. That's how the
Yes,
body talks. It says,
yes,
okay, something's going on over here. Something's going. So we get to the root cause instead of putting a band-aid on it and saying, okay, let me give you this pill for it. I'm glad you brought up the nails
yes.
because there are some women that just go and get regular nails done. I,
Right,
I don't.
right.
And it's
No,
probably because I'm
I
cheap,
stopped.
but I'm cheap. But when you go to the nail shop, I encourage you to wear a mask
Mhm.
because
They
all of
do.
those fumes and all of the stuff that you're inhaling during that time, even if you're getting your natural nails done, the folks
Mhm.
that are getting all the chemicals are they're just terrible. They're
Yes,
they're absolutely terrible. And then I
yes.
do want to say this one thing,
Mhm.
and y'all don't want to hear me say this, but
Okay.
all of these weight loss injections, you don't
Oh.
have diabetes, but you want to, do the Wegovy and all of this stuff. I think I said it before earlier. It's terrible
Mm,
for you.
mm.
Please.
I hear
Even
you.
if you have to do it for a little while, when you stop, if your lifestyle doesn't support the continued weight loss, the weight is going to come back. But it's also doing things to our organs. And
Yes.
someone is probably, the pharmaceutical companies are going to be upset with me, but I think it's a very, very bad thing.
Right.
Very.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's bad.
even in common sense, without even talking about them, just this is how I see it now. God made our body perfect. I mean, he, she, whatever you want to say about God, I say God knew what he was doing when he made this body, okay?
Mhm,
Down
mhm,
to a sniffle will give us an indicator of what is going on in our bodies. Most people ignore every symptom that is always put out there, down to
mhm,
dandruff. I mean, like you can keep it
mhm.
so
Yeah.
simple, or you can go complex to something like
Mhm,
lumps, right? Your body, even cancer, is your
mhm.
body did not take out its trash.
Right.
And now
Let,
you
let
got
me let me say this because I said Wegovy twice.
right. We're good.
If you are a diabetic and you need that medication,
Right.
that's different. But
Right.
if you're taking this stuff simply for weight loss,
Right.
it's not good. I just want to
Right.
make sure.
Okay.
Wegovy's wonderful for the intention it was made.
Right.
If you need to get your hemoglobin A1C down quick.
Right.
But if you don't need that, any medication, don't take it. I digress.
Right, right. And find the real solution, which is changing your whole eating life. And when in doubt, I mean, I don't know, nobody believes me, but I really believe there is nothing like with the doctor monitoring you, a fast with the right herbs or
Oh,
knowing what right
definitely.
things that there'll be the right things, nutrients that your body needs. There's nothing like that. You can if you starve the body, basically, you'd be surprised what you can do, what you can get rid of,
Right.
or what you can change at least. How
Mhm.
about that? I mean,
Mhm.
because you need white papers now, and you got to prove this and medical research, all this stuff. But I'm just going with what the tribes say. How
Mhm.
about that?
Mhm.
That's how
Mhm.
I roll. And it don't work for everybody. I get it. I just do what's best for me, and I
Mhm.
appreciate you for taking time. The last question: as telehealth continues to grow, do you think that we'll see more permanent shift on how healthcare is delivered? What role do you think nurses and practitioners will play in that shift?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can't see, well, I don't know what the insurance companies are going to do. Right
Right.
now, we get paid the same amount if you have a telehealth visit or if you have an in-person visit,
Okay.
right? Of course, in person we can order different things, and that makes the visit amount go up. Um, but I think telehealth is here to stay so
Okay.
that we can, especially for urban areas or rural areas,
Mm-hmm.
it really meets a need there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe you said that what do you think? What do I think nurse practitioners, their role is going
Yeah.
to be in healthcare? I think
Mm-hmm.
we are definitely needed because we outnumber doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And there are doctors that are retiring that are not coming back.
Yeah.
I think that a nurse practitioner, their role is special twofold
Mm.
because not only were we nurses before, the
Mm.
nurses, the bedside manner is, and when most nurses are amazing. So we always like to treat the whole person,
Right.
as opposed to some physicians. They're taught the book, the medicine, the pills. Nurses
Right.
are taught, I need to rub your back. I need to make sure you're okay. I need to
Right.
give you a glass of water. So
Right.
our approach is so different. So
Mm.
nurse practitioners are paramount in caring for people.
Mm.
Um,
Very good.
and so we're very important in that. And I think telehealth is here to stay, and it's very important to reach those that can't come into the office.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Belinda Cohen. We appreciate you, a family nurse practitioner. And how do we say it when we address you in title and a nurse practitioner title? How do we say it? Just nurse, or how do we say it? Because I never want to not, give anybody their correct titles.
So you can say, for example, Belinda, nurse practitioner, Miss Cohen, nurse practitioner.
Okay.
Um, if I had my doctorate, you can call a nurse practitioner a doctor, but
Okay.
she must make sure that you know she's not a medical doctor.
Okay.
It's the doctor of nurse practitioner. Now,
Got
for me, with the patients that I deal with, or anyone that I deal with, baby, call me Belinda
it. Okay.
because I'm just like you. There's nothing, I'm not more special than you. I just have some knowledge that I need to give you. Call me
Right.
Belinda.
I got you. Well, we thank you so much, Belinda Cohen, family nurse practitioner, Cohen Care. If you're in the Carolinas area, please go and visit or make a telehealth appointment. You never know. And, nothing like having someone that you trust in medical. So I'm glad that you came and joined us today. I appreciate you so much. And I'm glad to finally meet you.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
say
You
that.
you need to come visit Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where
I
Cohen
was
Care is
down
located.
there. I was down there. I'm gonna get there again. Don't worry. I gotta get there again. I got fam down there too. Two double fam. Both sides.
Yes, yes, yes. And if you need an appointment, cohencare.com,
Huh?
cohen-care.com,
I
cohen-care.com.
yes. Okay. And anybody, you guys know if you need to know details, always inbox me. I got a few Carolinas people that live down there, so of course I
Nice.
share information. But thank you again, and hang out with us while we say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, hi Tatiana, I see you, and Jennifer, Maria. Hi Maria, I see you. Tony, thank you guys so much for checking in today. We really appreciate you. We hope that you will share the video. Okay, hang out with Belinda. One moment. Bye.